AGE.
Another surprise at Wimbledon from Andy Murray.
Andy Murray and Emma Raducanu will team up in mixed doubles at the All England Club. The 37-year-old withdrew from singles earlier this week after having surgery to remove a cyst from his spine. He's also entered in the men's doubles with his older brother Jamie in this, his last ever Wimbledon tournament before retiring. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
Stocks closed higher today, the Nasdaq and S&P at new highs. A Delta flight from Detroit to Amsterdam was diverted to New York's Kennedy Airport after passengers were served spoiled food. Northwestern University Law School facing a new suit.
ABC News has obtained a lawsuit alleging Northwestern University's law school is biased against white men in its hiring practices. The complaint alleges the private university's law school gives hiring preference to, quote, mediocre women and applicants of color. The lawsuit was brought by a group called Faculty, Alumni, and Students Opposed to Racial Preferences, which fights against race and sex-based preferences in academia. The lawsuit was filed on the 60th anniversary of Lyndon B. Johnson's signing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Not only is LeBron James returning for a record-tying 22nd NBA season, he's going to join his son Bronny with the Lakers. Sources tell ESPN James agreed to a 2-year, $104 million contract, which includes a player option for 2025-26. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
I'm Bill Walter, KBNU News. News brought to you by Logan Extermination. It's the 42nd year for the Cache Valley Cruise-In, which will be held this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Cache County Fairgrounds. On KBNU's For the People program on Tuesday, Cache Valley Cruising Association President Brandon Douglas said big events on Thursday include the popular poker run and the sock hop that evening that has grown in popularity.
It seems to get a little bit bigger every year. When I started the club about 15, 16 years ago, it seemed like we had about 60 or so people at it, and I think we probably have 400 people show up to the dance now. And
oh, wow.
So it's just, we might have to start moving cars out of the way to make a bigger dance floor.
Friday night is the Cruise-In concert featuring the Commodores and the Temptations Review. A returning feature to this year's Cruise-In is Women's World.
10 years ago or so, we had all those older white fairground buildings, and we had one of them filled up for vendors specifically for women's interests. And when we tore those buildings down, we kind of lost where would we offer something like that. And one of our club members had a great idea to use the indoor horse arena.
That arena is just south of the event center. Now, a main feature of the Cruise-In, of course, is the giveaway car. This year, it's a 1950 Ford F3 pickup, and your Cruise-In ticket automatically enters you into the drawing for the vehicle Saturday evening just before the Cruise-In parade. You must be present to win. And then the parade will be held on Main Street from Center Street to 1400 North in downtown Logan, and that wraps up the three-day spectacular. You can get more information at cbcacruisein.com. About 71 million Americans are expected to travel at least 50 miles for Independence Day this year, which would break all sorts of 4th of July travel records, according to AAA. The organization's projections are based on anticipated travel between June 29th and July 7th, factoring in expected automobile, airline, and other types of transportation like cruises and trains. If the projections come to fruition, travel would jump 5.2% from a similar time frame last year and 8.8% from pre-pandemic travel in 2019. Where the holiday lands on the calendar this year is a key reason why this year could break all 4th of July records, according to Brian Ng, Senior Vice President of Membership and Travel Marketing for AAA Utah. He said travelers are opting to take longer trips with Independence Day falling on a Thursday. This further fuels summer travel demand that is showing no signs of slowing down. And the Matheson 3rd District Courthouse and another building in downtown Salt Lake City were evacuated after someone reported a suspicious package outside. That package was reported Tuesday afternoon around 1:30 p.m. on the north side of the courthouse complex. Officials with the Salt Lake City Police Department said bomb squad members were dispatched to examine the package. Investigators said the package was a small carry-on piece of luggage that had been left unattended. The bomb squad determined that it was not dangerous. KVNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. If you're in construction, agriculture, or industrial work, you need your oil to do its job. Find it on sale at Napa. 5 locations from Preston to Providence. Mostly clear tonight, low in the upper 40s, around 49, and then sunny mid-80s tomorrow. Warming up Friday into the weekend around 89 Friday, 91 on Saturday. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
With summer here, our beautiful lawns face a new threat. It's a threat you can't see because it's happening below the grass level, at the roots. Those nasty billbugs and grubs are beginning to hatch and they are hungry. Your lawn is a smorgasbord to them and they can't wait to belly up to the table. Get a jump on those bugs by calling Logan Extermination today. They'll apply a custom spray for bugs and also fertilize to keep weeds under control and your grass growing tall. Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Local news and the best talk. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Wonder is timeless. Discovery is everlasting. And exploration is never-ending. At Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, we cherish the unforgettable memories you've shared with us for the past 25 years. Thank you for being a part of our story. Visit livingplanetaquarium.org to embark on a new adventure and continue our journey together.
Oh, we live in a great area. Are you just back from a camping trip? Don't take your sleeping bags to the dry cleaner. Come to Mount Logan Laundry. For just a few quarters, our 55 or 80-pound washers and 80-pound dryers will have those bags clean for your next trip. Mount Logan Laundry has free Wi-Fi and drop-off service, plus they're open until midnight. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry.
Question. What do high-stakes gambling, a bunch of philosophical felines, tap-dancing gangsters, a blood-sucking plant, and a Puccini opera have in common? They're all blockbusters playing on stage in Logan this summer.
And I said to myself, sit down, you're rocking the boat.
Utah Festival presents Guys and Dolls, Cats, Anything Goes, Little Shop of Horrors, and Gianni Schicchi with Buoso's Ghost. Buy your tickets at utahfestival.org, utahfestival.org.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. Political headlines can be polarizing at the office. Here are tips on keeping the peace. Also, the strain on small cities and suburbs as migrants find new locations. Plus, the biggest problem in the weight loss industry today, how to keep weight off after taking a drug like Ozempic. And are Americans feeling fatigued from concerts? Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of today's show. You may have seen either a weather alert popping up on your phone or heard it here in our news breaks throughout the day. But a red flag warning has been issued for basically the entire northern half of the state. Now, this is a new red flag warning. There's an older red flag warning that's been in place for parts of southern Utah for a week now. This one's new, and this is the northern half of the state, and it is basically due to anticipated winds and wind gusts. Combined wind or 30-mile-an-hour gusts on top of the temperatures, the lack of precipitation over the last few weeks, the dryness of the grasses and the fuel, they call it out there, especially in the unincorporated areas of Cache Valley. But even, I'm looking out the window here, even at some nearby agricultural fields and the ditch banks that run in between those fields and the fence line. Yeah, there is a lot of wildfire potential out there right now. And in our canyons, it's even more noticeable. And so there is great concern for wildfires as we head into the holiday that is very fireworks intensive, July 4th, right? That's a given. There's going to be elevated concern and attempts to get word out to people to be careful, to know the restrictions. Basically, anything that could cause a spark is restricted at this point in unincorporated areas of the county. Also check with your city if you're not sure about certain rules that may be different for each city depending on where the city's located here in the valley. But that's the general statewide restriction that was announced earlier this week. And that does apply to Cache Valley. Target shooting, the gravel pits are in the unincorporated areas. No, don't do it. If you want to shoot, you're going to have to head to the range, and it's probably going to be the case until September, maybe even October, depending on how things play out. It is hot, it is dry, and again, forecast is for breezes and even wind gusts up to maybe 30 miles an hour. Recipe for disaster, basically. Throw fireworks on top of that. Yeah, so there's elevated concern definitely out there. And the red flag warning was issued for the northern half of the state in two different ways. The red flag warning for Cache Valley, Box Elder, and Rich County is until 9 p.m. tonight, meaning that those wind gusts are anticipated to be between now and 9 p.m. tonight. For the Salt Lake Valley and a lot of the southern parts of the Wasatch Front, that red flag warning actually goes into tomorrow evening. So, I mean, you don't have to be a fire marshal to connect these dots and paint this picture. The risk is high statewide right now that the slightest spark, an ember from a cigarette, grinding too close to vegetation that's dry, a welder, dragging a chain, towing your trailer, fireworks, of course, a grill that maybe sends off a bit of an ember. Any of these things could be what sparks that wildfire. And, obviously we should be careful out of concern for our neighbors, our friends, our own property, our neighbor's property, life and limb, all of those things. But I have an additional inspirational thing I like to say. If you end up that person that sparks the wildfire, you are going to be famous for sparking a wildfire. I think it's one of the greatest incentives to make people think twice, or to talk to their teenagers about thinking twice. No one wants to be that headline. There was a man in southern Utah several years ago who became that headline. He was using a torch, one of those backpack torches they used to burn ditch banks, and some people call that a flamethrower. It's not actually a flamethrower, but I guess it still works. But he was using a torch to burn ditch banks, and it didn't go well. And I think it was a few 100,000 acres burned later. He was famous. He ended up in court. No one wants to be that person. Don't be that person. So I can't stress it enough. The red flag warning is no joke. You throw winds on top of dry vegetation, the amount of vegetation that's out there and dry, just kindling, waiting to become a fire. Fireworks already elevate the risk of wildfire. We always have fires on the 4th of July and the 24th and the days before and after. Always. People forget that. It's just that a lot of times they get those fires out fast, and there's no property or damage to life and limb. But you throw some 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts on top of that, and that little grass fire next to someone's driveway or on the side of the road from a dragging trailer chain or whatever it might be, something that maybe would just be a quick and relatively easy job for professional firefighters here in the valley to put out. Throw 30-mile-an-hour winds on top of that, and you've got yourself an absolutely honest-to-goodness wildfire burning up across the foothills and into the canyons. So that's the concern out there, and it really can't be stressed enough. With that in mind, we're going to be talking about a lot about fires. We've got a message from Representative Casey Snider, who spends his evenings training and fighting wildfires most of the time through the summer. But he was also part of a process during the legislative session on earmarking some funding for firefighter training, for firefighter resources and supplies, and also he wants to get the word out as well on how serious the risk is for wildfire right now in Utah. So we'll hear from Representative Casey Snider and also Cache County Fire Marshal Rod Hammer, who has seen firsthand the risk that is out there. Okay, there you have it. We're going to be talking about fires, or preventing them. Stay tuned. For the People continues with Cache County Fire Marshal Rod Hammer right after this.
Grasshopper and other pest problems? Here's Chad the lawn doctor with a solution.
Grasshoppers are a problem again this year. It's been mentioned and written about in the news and by experts. Watch for the baby nymphs initially, and then as they develop to adults, they feed on vegetation both on the farms and in your gardens at home. Treatment is best early on, but can be treated at any time. Enjoy your summer nights, barbecues, and parties with our Yard Armor Pest Control Service that controls grasshoppers, mosquitoes, spiders, wasps, and other insects. Give us a call at 435-753-LAWN or find us at lawndoctorcashvalley.com.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. It is nice out there. Warm, but not warm enough, but not too warm. Looks like it'll be that way through tomorrow and into Friday, and then back up into maybe the too warm range by Saturday and Sunday. Looking at the forecast here. As I mentioned, also in the forecast, winds and wind gusts. So that has led to the issuance of a red flag warning for Cache Valley in northern Utah. Basically everything from Salt Lake Valley north, this red flag warning applies to due to the anticipated winds this evening and into tomorrow. And that red flag warning is until 9 p.m. tonight here in Cache Valley. But the Salt Lake Valley and Wasatch Front area, our listeners there, that red flag warning for a potential 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts goes into tomorrow evening. Recipe for disaster. Fireworks, intense holiday, 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts, that roadside fire from a cigarette or dragging trailer chain, or a hot catalytic converter parked on top of dry grass, or a firework in a driveway that somehow goes a bit too high, catches some wind. That fire that could be an easier task for fire departments in 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts becomes a wildfire, burning up the foothills and into the canyons. Like I say, it can't be stressed enough how concerned that fire officials are about these conditions. So keep that in mind and act accordingly. With that in mind, we had a chance to talk with Cache County Fire Marshal Rod Hammer, who's actually been out and seen the conditions firsthand in our canyons and in the unincorporated areas of the county. And KVNU's Will Philwright had a chance to talk to him about the wildfire danger that's out there right now.
Well, Jason, earlier this week, new fire restrictions went into effect for much of northern Utah. And to help bring some explanation to those fire restrictions, we've invited Cache County Fire District Chief Rod Hammer into the studio to explain some of these conditions that will hopefully help prevent any serious wildfire in this area. And Chief Hammer, always grateful to have you here. We've had already throughout the state a number of forest fires, and as we've been watching the numbers, a majority of those have been human caused so far this year.
Yeah, they have. Even locally, we've had several fires started by fireworks. Last Saturday, we had a fire at Blacksmith Fork that was caused by shooting. So the grass is really dry. We call it a receptive fuel bed, meaning that pretty much any spark that hits in the dry grass will start a fire now.
You look at just the amount of moisture that we had through the spring, and I was spending a lot of time up in the mountains, and everything was really green. Well, June, we had hardly any rainfall. In fact, it was less than a quarter inch measured here at the KVNU studios. And so that's pretty much just turned everything into a matchbox up there, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yesterday or the day before, we had our first incidents of red flag warnings. So that's pretty early in July to get those warnings, meaning that, again, fire danger gets really high.
Now, over the weekend, the state forester issued this fire restriction, and this is considered a stage 1, and there are how many stages? 3 stages, technically?
Usually we only go into stage 2, which pretty much shuts down everything.
Okay. And so this is kind of the beginning, which likely we could see a stage 2 later on if conditions stay this way. But could you explain what stage 1 restrictions are and what people need to be aware of, that what they can and can't do?
So yeah, the stage 1, it's a lot of the basic fire prevention stuff. We do rule out any open fires in the unincorporated county. These restrictions don't go in effect in municipalities within the city limits, but anytime you get out in the county, up on state lands, or forests will have their own restrictions, so these don't apply to the Forest Service yet. But on state and private lands, no open fires, no smoking, no fireworks, of course, and then just the cutting, welding, grinding, that kind of thing, be extremely careful with. It's just, everything's just receptive. It all wants to burn right now.
Yeah. ATVs, chainsaws, those kind of things. Even driving your car. I know you've mentioned in years past, if you're driving a car along a dirt road and you pull off into the grass, just the heat alone from the engine can ignite a fire.
Yeah, the catalytic converters get really hot. Some of the exhaust components get really hot. And even when we're out on a fire or checking a fire, when we stop our vehicles, we usually try to stop in areas that have already burned or stay on the gravel road or something like that. But if there's tall grass and you pull off, I've seen fires start from dirt bikes crashing in the grass, and they'll ignite a fire. So it's just a lot of common sense stuff. If there's dry grass and you're with something hot, try to keep the two separate.
Yeah,
you don't want to mix the two.
Now, these fire restrictions went into effect for pretty much all of northern Utah. It's for all of the counties basically north of Salt Lake. I think Utah County was also included in those fire restrictions. And as you mentioned, it is for the unincorporated areas of the county. But really, these recommendations should apply for any time you're going outside, whether you're in the city or in the Forest Service area, in the Forest Service land, or in the county unincorporated area. These are things you just don't want to be doing, whether it's target practicing, fireworks, campfires. This is the time of year you just probably want to not do that, no matter where you are.
Yeah, you just want to wait till it gets a little more rain, or certainly wait until the stage 1 restrictions are lifted. But we advise people, if you're out shooting where it's legal, have a fire extinguisher with you. If you're camping, take a fire extinguisher. We've seen fires stopped, even grass fires with fire extinguishers. And if you have a campfire where it's allowed right now, have some water next to you, have some running water, so that you can do something if an ember gets out of control.
Yeah. We're talking with Chief Hammer from the Cache County Fire District. Again, these new restrictions going into effect last Monday, and likely we will stay in these restrictions for the summer. I mean, it's not forecasted to change weather-wise anytime soon. But so far, as you look back over the last couple of years, these restrictions have paid off in northern Utah, haven't they?
You know, I think awareness is really up from where it has been in the past. We had a couple years of drought. Last year we came out of that to some degree. And I think that people have been very careful with their fires. We were talking the other day, and it's like this fire up Blacksmith Fork was really the biggest fire we've had in a couple of years, which is good. It means people are being careful. They're doing their part, and we understand accidents happen, but if everybody's a little more careful, a little more aware when they're out in the backcountry or when they're out camping or enjoying things with their family, that we can be safe and we can limit that risk of fire.
Now, this is a time that I'm sure that firefighters like yourself are cringing as people are lighting fireworks. And is there any word of advice for people who are wanting to celebrate safely to be able to do so without causing fires?
The biggest advice I could give is go to the shows that the cities are putting on, the Logan City one, the Lewiston, the Hiram. Those shows are put on safely by people who are very cognizant of the risk. We have the most problem with individuals. Fire last night in Nibley caused by a Roman candle. So, you know, it's safest to go to the big shows. If you're going to do something at home, again, have some water nearby. Make sure your lawn's wet. It's green. Don't shoot by any dry fires, and just be aware. These, especially the aerials now, they say they come down cool, but not necessarily. And just exercise extreme caution.
I know some of the Logan City firefighters have mentioned to me that disposal of fireworks is also a problem because people will collect those fireworks right after they were lit. They throw them in the garbage can. They go into the house, go to bed, and you basically just put a small bed of embers in a garbage can where it can fuel off of tissue paper and everything else, and that's caused several fires throughout this area.
Yeah, we've had a couple of years ago, we had 2 houses that caught fire just because they put the burned fireworks in the black garbage cans that were up next to the house. Mm-hmm. I would recommend that you just take a hose, soak down all the fireworks, leave it out, and pick it up the next morning so it has time to get wet, and if something does reignite, that it'll be away from the house.
We're again talking with Chief Rod Hammer from the Cache County Fire District. And last of all, if people are concerned, of course, I guess the message is just don't. If you feel like, you know, if you're going to have a campfire, not have a campfire, maybe pass on the campfires right now, pass on the fireworks right now. But then if they do see something when they are up in some areas, they see something suspicious, it's probably a good idea to report it too.
Yeah, if you see any smoke or any problems, just call 911. They'll call it out. We'll go take a look. May or may not be anything. We'd rather look and not have to worry about it than wait too long and it take off. One thing we measure fuel moistures weekly up on the face and up in some of the canyons, and we're seeing fuel moistures now that indicate extreme fire behavior. So, I mean, it's tinderbox. They're still a little green on the top, but all the bed down on the ground and the fuel or the soil moistures are just extremely dry. Really so dry. Anything can take off, and we certainly want everything reported so that we can go check it out.
Well, it sounds like the last few years we have been fortunate, and let's hope that this year we are just as fortunate, if not more fortunate. We appreciate Chief Hammer from the Cache County Fire District joining us in the studio. Again, those Stage 1 fire restrictions went into effect July 1st and likely will remain in effect throughout much of the summer. And with that, Jason, back to you.
Thank you, Will, and to you, Chief, for your time. It's hard to overstate the Chief's words there. Tinderbox is what they're seeing out there in the canyons and even the foothills around Cache Valley as we head into not only the biggest fireworks weekend of the year, but also the red flag warning because of the potential wind gusts until 9 or 10 o'clock tonight here in Cache Valley and into tomorrow evening along the Wasatch Front and Salt Lake Valleys. The potential for wildfire is extremely high. So let's, if we can, eliminate our contribution to that potential over the next few days and months, because let's be honest, this is probably what we're looking at until at least September. So thanks again to Chief Hammer and to you, Will, for that update, and I hope everyone's taking it seriously. On the other side, to help encourage everyone to take it seriously, a message from Representative Casey Snider. Representative Snider spends his evenings as a firefighter. During the session, though, he was able to do quite a bit to help firefighters do the work they do, and he had a special message for Utahns today on taking the wildfire potential seriously. We'll get to that after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. A 23-year-old North Logan man has been sentenced to 4 months in jail for sexually assaulting a woman more than 3 years ago. Joshua Hunter Klein apologized to the victim before being taken into custody by bailiffs and escorted out of a courtroom. Klein was sentenced Monday in Logan's 1st District Court. He previously pleaded no contest to 2 charges of attempted forcible sexual abuse, amended to a third-degree felony. The plea meant Klein conceded the alleged charges occurred without admitting guilt or offering a defense. It is still viewed as a guilty plea in court. According to prosecutors, North Park police officers began investigating Klein after the victim described being sexually assaulted on September 10, 2021. The two were reportedly acquaintances. Investigators interviewed Klein. He admitted to hanging out with the woman on the night of the incident. While they were at his home, he reportedly started inappropriately touching her as she told him no. The report stated Klein claimed the victim told him to stop 2 to 3 times. He reportedly told police he thought the woman was just uncomfortable or nervous, and that if he continued, it would make her happy. During Monday's sentencing, defense attorney Wayne Caldwell said Klein made a big mistake that night and did not respect or communicate properly with the victim. He said his client was remorseful for making the woman feel bad. Judge Spencer Walsh said the case could have been avoided if Klein would have respected the victim's boundaries. He called the defendant's conduct wrong and appalling, and that cannot be tolerated. A warning advisory has been issued by the Utah Department of Water Quality for certain areas of Utah Lake due to a harmful algal bloom. The warning was put into effect for Provo Bay, Lincoln Beach, American Fork Beach, and Saratoga Springs Marina. Officials said that, according to the DEQ website, a warning advisory is a second level of caution taken for that prohibits swimming but allows fishing and boating with caution. The next level is a danger advisory, which is a prohibition of any interaction with the water. KVNU weather is brought to you by the Lawn Doctor. Grasshoppers are a problem again this year. They eat up the vegetation in your yard and garden. Treatment is effective early on especially, but can be treated at any time. Call the Lawn Doctor at 753-LAWN or go to LawnDoctorCacheValley.com. Mostly clear tonight, low in the upper 40s, close to 50 degrees. Sunny, warm, around 84 tomorrow, around 89 on Friday. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. President Biden and Vice President Harris are meeting at the White House with 24 Democratic governors and the mayor of Washington, D.C. The White House also forcefully denying a New York Times report that Mr. Biden told an ally he's debating whether to end his reelection effort.
The president responded directly when asked about this question because we said that we would, and the president said it is absolutely false. That's coming directly from him.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Organizers in Arizona and Nebraska say they've turned in more signatures than they needed to in order to get abortion rights measures on ballots this November. Hurricane Beryl is roaring by Jamaica's southern coast with fierce wind and heavy rain. Forecasters say the Category 4 storm, which has killed at least 6 people, could be a threat to South Texas in the coming days. This is ABC News.
Are you in need of excellent surgical care? Budge Clinic General Surgery offers the future of surgery with state-of-the-art robotic-assisted procedures. From cancer treatments to surgical needs, they've got you covered. Call Budge Clinic General Surgery today, 435-716-1950, to schedule a consultation and experience the best possible outcome. Trust Doctors Anderson, Marshall, McKenna, and Peterson, the experts at Budge Clinic General Surgery, helping people live the healthiest lives possible.
Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic has an experienced and caring team of physicians and staff to assist you with all of your ear, nose, and throat concerns, including head and neck surgery. Doctors Kaiser and Wilson and their staff at Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic will work together to provide excellent care and support throughout the entire surgery process, from your pre-op visit to your full recovery. And they accept all insurance. For more information about Doctors Kaiser or Wilson, search Budge Clinic ENT or call 435-716-1420. Local care with Intermountain expertise.
The results are in for the 2024 Best of Northern Utah contest, presented by the Cater Shop Menswear Store. A record 816,000 votes were cast this year to determine the gold and silver winners. Pick up your own free copy of the Winners Magazine at locations throughout Cache and Box Elder counties. Pickup locations and winners can also be found at bestofnorthernutah.com. Help us recognize these winning businesses and support all of our local businesses by shopping local.
Best of Northern Utah.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson of Wilson Motor Company. It's that time of year to celebrate our 81st anniversary with our biggest sales event of the year. We have reduced prices on over 300 Ford, Lincoln, Nissan, and pre-owned vehicles, including over 40 F-150s in stock and coming. We have rebates as high as $7,500, bonus cash, and interest rates as low as 0% for 60 months. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com.
Wilson Motor Company. We make hard life easy.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat and the Allergy Clinic now have an office located inside the Miller Medical Building in Tremonton. Every Friday, Northern Utah's premier ear, nose, and throat medical physicians and staff will provide Box Elder County a better option to be seen. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat and the Allergy Clinic are now located in Tremonton. Save time, schedule your appointment today. Go to CacheValleyENT.com. That's CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products, including Select Med, are accepted.
Monday edition, Clay and Buck. We may have a new Democrat moving to the front of the presidential ticket less than 4 months away from the start of the election. It's crazy, plus Buck.
Hopefully there won't be an actual alien invasion over this Independence Day weekend, but we'll call in Bill Pullman and Will Smith if we need to. We'll talk to you more about everything going on in the news coming up on Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Run through just a potpourri. I really don't like that word of headlines here, but that's what it is. A couple of things that are worth your attention. I've linked to them all on our Facebook page, but the fallout from the announcement yesterday, Utah State University firing Aggie football coach Blake Anderson and 2 others, and naming the defensive coach as interim coach headed into the season, which gets underway August 31st is the first scheduled game. So yeah, it's. I mean, not that there's a good time ever for this to be happening, but it is what it is. If you were listening yesterday, or if you've read the stories at CashValleyDaily.com, you know that an announcement was put out in the morning. First, announcing that that the football coach, and deputy athletic director Jerry Bovee, and one other were going to be placed on administrative leave. And then a few minutes later, ESPN journalist reported that they'd been notified by USU they were being fired. And long story short, this, according to a statement from USU, was due to USU President Cantwell and athletic director Diana Sabao released a statement. And in the statement, they said, as leaders, we're responsible for ensuring allegations of USU policy violations are investigated. Today's actions are the result of a thorough investigation, and we believe the evidence demands immediate action. Our job is to fearlessly hold ourselves and others accountable for their conduct, and to make sure that, for the sake of our students and our community, we are living the values of this university. We recognize the impact of these decisions on our student athletes and football program, and will continue to take the steps necessary to deliver a respectful, transparent, and winning culture at Utah State University. And again, that comes after the university said that they were letting go Deputy Athletic Director Jerry Bovee and USU Football Director of Player Development Austin Albrecht, alongside head coach Blake Anderson, for, quote, violations of university policies related to reporting of sexual abuse and domestic violence, and failures of professional responsibilities. So that was the official word yesterday. The same ESPN journalist, Pete Thamel, reported today, late last night after our show, that Blake Anderson has obtained an attorney, Tom Mars, and for long-time sports junkies, that might be a name that you recognize. Mars is a nationally recognized attorney with experience in, quote, crisis consultancy for companies, executives, and public officials. Mars has dealt most recently with the NCAA's transfer rules. So you may have heard his name there. He's on cable news a lot. And he was on cable news a lot when those transfer rules were being discussed. But his most notable representation as an attorney, former Ole Miss football coach Houston Nutt, during a suit, Houston Nutt v. University of Mississippi. Nutt alleged a breach of contract by the University of Mississippi, and he got an undisclosed, though rumor has it, sizable settlement in that case, along with a public apology from the university. So Mars has a reputation, and he is going to be representing Blake Anderson in this. Anderson, of course, has 14 days to appeal, and the university said they will be releasing no additional details out of respect for that 14-day appeal window. And so we might learn more after the 14 days if Anderson doesn't appeal. I'm guessing with hiring counsel, he plans to appeal, or maybe not. Maybe he doesn't plan to appeal, but plans to defend his reputation with legal counsel. All we know is that Tom Mars, the attorney Anderson has hired, talked to ESPN's Pete Thamel and said USU faces a, quote, uphill battle to stand by this firing of Anderson with cause. His exact quote, he told Thamel, stiffing a head coach by blaming him for what his supervisor was supposed to do is a novel approach, but that theory will never hold up in court. So it appears Anderson is going to challenge this. And again, USU staff and president's office in an official statement said that they stem from actions in the spring of 2023 where they say Anderson committed actions that, quote, violated both his employment agreement and university policy. And that it's vague, I know, but somehow this relates to university policies around the reporting of sexual and domestic violence and the professional responsibilities of funneling that upstream, basically, to be investigated and not doing an internal investigation. The university has rules about that. So, again, no additional details have been released other than ESPN reporting that Anderson had acquired attorney Tom Mars, kind of famous in the sports world, and that Mars told ESPN in an interview that USU actually is the one going to have to fight an uphill battle to stand by firing Anderson with cause, or to claim they fired Anderson with cause. And again, his quote, he said, "Stiffing a head coach by blaming him for what his supervisor was supposed to do is a novel approach, but the theory will never hold up in court." So I don't know what to make of this one, honestly. It's hard for me to be objective. I've always liked Anderson. I thought he did a great PSA just recently back in April for CAPSA that I thought was great. His frankness and openness about mental health issues and some that have directly impacted his family even. I've always thought, it was great that he did that, especially being a head coach of a college football team, to go out and talk about those things, to normalize, talking about mental health and taking care of your mental health. So I've always liked the guy for that. And obviously, his first season alone, he's a good coach. But university's allegations are pretty serious. Anderson's attorney also sounds pretty confident that they will fare well in court. And that's really all we know at this point. So moving on. In Cache Valley, you're primarily going to hear this. And so I want to throw this out so that people know, if they hear it, why they're hearing it. Unfortunately, we are not on the travel map. And I assume that has a lot to do with geography. I don't know. But I think it's kind of harsh they left Cache Valley out. All of northern Utah out. But the 419th Fighter Wing is going to be doing a July 4th flyover. They'll make their way around the majority of the state, not northern Utah, not extreme southern Utah, but the middle. And they'll start this off about 9 a.m. Now, these jets, individual F-35A Lightning II jets, are loud enough. This is going to be 4 of them flying in pattern. So this is going to be loud. You're going to hear it. And if you hear it, that's what it is. Again, here in Cache Valley, you might not see it. You might see a little dot over the horizon to the south because the closest that they are going to get to us is, let's see, let me double check here, Morgan County. So they're going to circle over Morgan County as part of their July 4th celebration. So the way they've planned this is they've tried to make sure the jets will be flying over when there is actually a community celebration going on. And so here's the full schedule. If you'd like to get out and see this, which is, to be honest with you, it's up to you whether that's worth a drive to Morgan at 9 in the morning, or to be there by 9 in the morning, or Hennifer at 9:03. But it is cool to see. Huntsville, I guess, would actually be closer to us. Sorry, I said Morgan would be the closest. Huntsville will be the closest. That's 9:06 a.m. when they'll fly over Huntsville. And Riverdale, they'll fly over Riverdale and the Clearfield area around about 9:17 to 9:19 is what they're saying. So, if it's worth the drive for you to see this, it's not something you get to see every day. Even if you live there by Hill Air Force Base, seeing 4 flying in formation they usually fly out one at a time and get into formation if they're actually, on mission or in part of a training. So it's pretty cool. And again, this is the 419th Fighter Wing, and the 4 F-35A Lightning II jets will make their way around Utah so they'll start just before 9 a.m., and they will hit Mill Creek, East Mill Creek Lions Club July 4th Community Celebration at 8:54 a.m. They'll fly over Murray at 8:55, Kaysville at 8:58, as Kaysville kicks off their 4th of July parade there. West Point at 8:59 at the party at the Point celebration. Morgan at 9:02 a.m., 4th of July celebration. Hennifer at 9:03 a.m., Huntsville at 9:06 a.m., and Lewiston 9:12 a.m., part of the Lewiston 4th of July celebration and parade. Then they'll circle back down Riverdale, 9:19 a.m., Clearfield 9:19 a.m., so roughly the same time. Back to Salt Lake City by 9:20, and then they head on down Leeds at 9:50, Fillmore, Vernal, etc., moving into the 10:30. Then they circle back up to Park City, 10:45 a.m., Riverton at 10:48, and West Jordan at 10:50. So, again, closest to us, Huntsville at 9:06 a.m., or flying over Lewiston at 9:12 a.m., a part of Lewiston City's 4th of July celebration and parade. And that is, again, the 419th Fighter Wing flying out of Hill Air Force Base. They'll be flying 4 F-35A Lightning jets, and they'll make their way around Utah. I've posted a link to it on our Facebook page if you want to see the full schedule. But again, closest to us, where you'll be able to see them, Huntsville just after 9 a.m. It's estimated they'll fly over Huntsville around 9:06, and Lewiston at 9:12 a.m. as part of Lewiston's 4th of July celebration parade. And then they'll head back down to Riverdale around 9:20 for the Old Glory Days parade. So there you have it. That is the plan for this. And again, I'm throwing it out there because even if you don't see them, you're going to hear them. And if you hear them tomorrow morning, that's why. So again, a link to the full schedule on our Facebook page if you'd like to get out and see these 4 jets fly over in person. And we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
Cache Valley Cruising.
Cache Valley's biggest summer party is almost here. The Cache Valley Cruise-In, July 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Cache County Fairground. This year, the Cruise-In is going Motown with the Commodore. And opening act, the Temptations Review, featuring the legacy of Dennis Edwards. This year, all seats are assigned. So buy your tickets now to ensure you get the best seats available. The giveaway car is a beautifully restored 1950 Ford F3 pickup. And your ticket to the car show is your chance to win the truck. 3 days of fun includes the annual poker run, Women's World, Top Rod of Utah, a sock hop, and more.
Cache Valley Cruising. Cache Valley Cruising.
July 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
Save a life. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in 09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello?
Yes, is Emmeline Goodwin there?
This is her.
Someone told me how you have been an EMT for a very long time.
I'm actually still an EMT. It's been 30 years.
And then do you also teach, as I understand?
Yeah, I also teach first aid and CPR classes at the hospital.
Well, Emmeline, we'd like to recognize you with a $40 gift card to Firehouse Sub.
Thank you so much.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Wrapping up today's show. And again, our last show, no, sorry, second to last show of the week. We will have no show tomorrow, special programming running throughout the day. And then we'll be back for the For the People movie show on Friday. And just want to remind everyone as well of the coinciding with the Logan City fireworks show this evening and other events going on. Do have patriotic programming into this evening as well when the fireworks get underway, which they're shooting for. I mean, obviously dark is the official start time of those Logan City fireworks. But 10 p.m.-ish, about, maybe a bit before, roughly when that will start. So, and we'll have programming to go along with those here if you're watching from a distance, and enjoy. And if you can, maybe make those the only fireworks that you enjoy. This year, I'm looking at the wind out here, just the studio window, and I think those 30 mile an hour winds 20 mile an hour winds with the potential 30 mile an hour gusts have finally hit. Again, there's a lot of concern out there over this. You heard from Rod Hammer this hour, fire chief for Cache County, Representative Casey Snider talking about his concerns over this as well in that clip we had. And it's a combination of the fuel, a combination of the winds, a combination of the fireworks, the dry conditions, lack of precipitation for such a long period of time. Yeah, it's really, So again, in the words of Representative Casey Snider.
My name's Casey Snider. I'm a member of the Utah Legislature, and in addition to the opportunity that I have to serve my community as a representative, I also have the opportunity to serve as a volunteer firefighter in my community. The state of Utah has made critical investments in preventing wildfire, such as through the Catastrophic Wildfire Restricted Account, which members of the House and Senate have approved year over year. Employees of the Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands spend most of every summer fighting fire. In the state of Utah, we've been fortunate to have almost 2 years of slow and relatively quiet wildfire seasons. That has led to an accumulation of critical fuels. Knowing that, there are some things that you can do. Fires. Make sure you're not driving through tall grass. Watch trailer chains and make sure you don't have tires going flat in places where a fire could start. Us working together with you all can ensure that we have a safe and happy holiday season and a hopefully boring wildfire season.
Well said, Representative Snider. Final word on all of this goes to Rep. Snider.